Hello everyone, I am Gaurav Kumar Patro. I am a PhD student at IIT Kharagpur, India. I'll be presenting our work on two-sided fairness for personalized recommendations in two-sided platforms. This is a joint work with Arpita from IISc Bangalore, my advisor Niloy from IIT Kharagpur, Krishna and Avigyan from MPASWS, Germany. Major online platforms today can be thought of as two-sided platforms, with producers of goods and services and customers who pay for them or who consume them. For example, we have sellers and buyers on e-commerce platforms, hosts and guests on hotel booking platforms, artists and viewers on media streaming platforms, etc. In this work, we focus on the personalized recommendation services deployed on these platforms. Personalized recommendation is a critical component of many two-sided platforms since the item spaces on these platforms are often huge. They recommend relevant products to individual customers, like products to buy, songs to listen, movies to watch, restaurants to visit, etc. Let us first discuss the general pipeline of personalized recommendation. The inputs are often products information, customers information, and their usage history, reviews, ratings, etc. These are then fed into a relevance scoring model. These models estimate the relevance of a product to a customer using the available input. These are often data-driven machine learning models like collaborative filtering, latent embedding methods, etc. Now, the goal of personalized recommendation has been to maximize customer satisfaction. Therefore, the K most relevant products are then selected based on the estimated relevance scores and then recommended to the customer. This is a purely customer-centric approach. So an important question to ask here is that what's the effect of customer-centric approach on the producers? To study the effects, we test the personalized recommendation on two publicly available datasets. The first one is a Google Local, which is a local recommendation service works on top of Google Maps. We have data on 855 businesses and 11,172 customers in New York, along with their reviews and ratings. Secondly, we use Last.fm dataset in which we have 17,632 artists and 1,892 listeners along with their play count records. We apply state-of-the-art latent embedding-based factorization for relevance estimation and then recommend the top K producers to every customer. Next, we calculate the exposure or visibility of each producer. We define the exposure of a producer as the number of customers to whom it is recommended. We then plot the Lorentz curves for producer exposures. On x-axis, we have the cumulative percentage of producers whom we have sorted in increasing order of their exposures. And on y-axis, we have the cumulative percentage of exposure of those corresponding producers. The blue broken line, which is the diagonal line, represents the equality mark. If the Lorentz curve is closer to the diagonal line, it means that the producers have almost equal exposures. If the Lorentz curve is far below the diagonal, it means that there is huge inequality in exposure. In both the cases, the curves are far below the diagonal. It means that there is huge inequality in producer exposures in both the cases. In fact, in Google Local, we find that top 20% businesses got around 80% of the total exposure, while on Last.fm, the bottom 60% artists got only around 20% of the total exposure. While business activity on these platforms often correlates with exposure, such unequal distribution of exposure may give rise to inequality in business or economic opportunity. Note that we assume all the producers on the platform to be genuine ones, and the platforms may have separate mechanisms in place to find out or filter out illicit producers. But the obvious question here is that why should we care for the producers? Today, with the rise of many two-sided platforms in various sectors, increasing number of small businesses have started depending on these platforms for their livelihood. So disproportionate exposure distribution may give rise to loss of economic opportunity for these businesses. Such cases have been observed in e-commerce giants like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Similar problems have also been pointed out for hotel booking platforms and various other platforms too. Keeping such problems in mind, governments around the world have started introducing legislations to avoid such anti-competition behavior on these platforms. Apart from the legal interests, various two-sided platforms have also started focusing on producer fairness as a guarantee in their business to attract new producers and get them on board for a long-term engagement. As we have seen the interests and motivation to care for the producers, it is natural to ask what would be a producer-centric strategy for recommendation. One such producer-centric strategy would be to recommend K least exposed producers, or those producers who have been recommended the least number of times. We can call it as poorest K recommendation. We again plot the Lawrence curves for poorest K recommendation. We see that the curves for poorest K recommendation, which are in brown color, they appear to be very close to the diagonal or the equality mark, unlike the top K recommendation. This means that poorest K achieves almost equal exposure for every producer on both the datasets. However, we also have to see how it performs on the customer side. In that matter, we use customer utility metric. The numerator of the metric is the sum of relevances of k recommended producers, while the denominator is the sum of relevances of the k most relevant producers, or top k recommendation. Next, we plot the customer utilities. On x-axis, we have the individual customers, and on y-axis, we have their corresponding utilities. We find that top K recommendation retains a utility of 1 for every customer. However, poorest K significantly degrades the customer utility and also introduces inequality in individual customer utilities, thereby becoming unfair to the customers. In summary, we can say that customer-centric top K recommendation gives highest utility to the customers but causes huge inequality for the producers. On the other hand, producer-centric poorest care recommendation gives almost equal exposure to producers while causing loss and disparity on the customer side, and thereby becoming unfair to the customers. So the takeaway here is that we need to consider fairness for both producers and customers while designing the recommender systems. Therefore, we propose suitable fairness notions for two sides. On producer side, we plan to ensure a minimum exposure guarantee for every producer. This is comparable to fairness of minimum wage guarantee. Earlier studies have found that minimum wage guarantee decreases wealth inequality in society. Here, we also hope to reduce exposure inequality among the producers. While we ensure a minimum exposure guarantee for the producers, there will be some loss in customer utility. So, to be fair to the customers, we want the resultant loss to be fairly distributed among the customers. Now that we have defined the fairness notions for both the sides, there are two important questions that we have to answer here. The first one is, what would be a feasible exposure guarantee for the producers? And on the customer side, what would be a fair distribution? To solve this problem, we propose to reimagine this fair recommendation problem as a fair allocation problem. Before going further, let us briefly see what a fair allocation problem is. We have a set of goods which needs to be allocated to a set of agents. Each agent has a set of valuation over all the goods. The goal here is to find a fair allocation of goods among the agents, that is, partition the goods into bundles A1 to AN in a fair manner, where N is the number of agents. Note that none of the individual goods can be divided. They are to be allocated as a whole. There are some classical fairness notions for fair division. The first one is envy-freeness, which requires that every agent values her bundle at least as much as she values any other's bundle. The second one is proportional fair share, which requires that every agent values her share to be at least 1 by n times of her total value of all the goods, where n is the number of agents. These are not always possible to achieve when the goods are indivisible. So in case of indivisible goods, we have relaxed versions of the same fairness notions, like envy-freeness up to one good, or in short EF1, and maximum share, or in short MMS. Let us see what these notions are. An allocation is said to be envy-free up to one good if and only if for every pair of agents I and j, there exists a good in agent j's bundle, which when removed, agent I will not envy agent j. Coming to maximentia guarantee, if an agent I is asked to partition the goods into n bundles, and then all other agents are asked to choose one bundle each. Finally, the remaining bundle is given to agent I. In such a scenario, agent I will receive her least valued bundle in the worst case. Now, for such an allocation policy, agent I will always try to partition the goods in a way that maximizes the minimum valued bundle. Now, the value of this maximum bundle is the maximum share for that agent. If an allocation ensures such maximum share for every agent, then it is said to be guaranteeing maximum share or MMS. Now, coming back to our fair recommendation problem. To map our problem to a fair allocation problem, we can see the products as goods, customers as agents, relevance scores as valuations. However, there are some differences between our setup and existing fair allocation setup. In fair allocation, EF1 and MMS guarantees are usually conceived only for agents, while there have been no fairness consideration on the goods or product side. While we solve our mapped fair allocation problem, there are some important properties required in our setup. The first one is producer fairness, which is the minimum exposure guarantee for every producer. Next, we need customer fairness, which is the EF1 guarantee. Finally, we also have a cardinality constraint on customer side, which requires that we allocate k distinct products to each customer as recommendation. As we plan to give minimum exposure guarantee to every producer, it is useful to find what could be the maximum feasible guarantee on producer side. Let there be n distinct products and m distinct customers. Let the size of recommendation be k. Then the total available exposure would be m multiplied by k or mk. Now the maximum value of exposure that we can guarantee to every producer will be the floor of mk by n, which is the MMS value for the producers. No guarantee above MMS is possible. So MMS is the theoretical maximum, but the platforms may decide to give a lower exposure guarantee. Let that be alpha into MMS, where alpha is a fraction ranging from 0 to 1. After mapping the fair recommendation problem to a fair allocation problem, it is basically boiled down to a constraint satisfaction problem. Here we have to find an allocation of products subject to a minimum exposure guarantee on producers, EF1 guarantee for customers, and a cardinality constraint. To solve this, we propose a polynomial time algorithm, FAIRREC. FAIRREC runs in two phases. Phase 1 tries to ensure minimum exposure guarantee for producers while maintaining EF1 for customers. Phase 2 then completes the allocation and still maintains the EF1. Let us see how FAIRREC works with a small example. Here we have 5 products and 7 customers. Let the recommendation size be 3 and alpha equal to 0.5. With alpha 0.5, our exposure guarantee will be alpha multiplied by MMS, which is zero point 0.5 into 21 by 5 floor. So the exposure guarantee we are giving here is 2. For exposure guarantee of 2, we'll create 2 copies of each product and consider that as the set of goods that we need to allocate to the customers. By creating copies of each product, as many as the exposure guarantee, we are trying to ensure minimum exposure guarantee for the products. But while allocating the goods, we also have to ensure EF1 for the customers. So we allocate them in greedy round robin manner. Greedy round robin has been proven to satisfy EF1 in earlier literature. While allocating in greedy round robin, we also have to satisfy some constraints. First, the availability constraint. It ensures that a customer can be allocated a product if and only if any of its copy is still available. And the feasibility constraint ensures that a customer can be allocated at most one copy of any product. So in phase 1, we allocate a total of 10 goods to 7 customers. So when phase 1 finishes, each customer will be left with 1 or 2 products. But we still have to recommend 3 products to each customer. So we complete that in phase 2. In phase 2, we make every product infinitely available. So the availability constraint goes void. We shall continue greedy round robin from where it was left in phase 1. So EF1 guarantee will still be but and the feasibility constraint will still be intact. So essentially in phase 1, we try to ensure minimum exposure guarantee for producers by creating limited number of copies of each product and then allocating them. At the same time, in both the phases, we do the whole allocation process in greedy round robin manner. So we also ensure EF1 for the customers throughout the process. The theoretical guarantees of Fairlake are it ensures EF1 for customers, minimum exposure guarantee upper bounded by MMS for majority of the producers, and also runs in polynomial time. The proofs are available in the paper. We show the results for alpha equal to 1, that is for setting exposure guarantee equal to MMS. Here we have the recommendation size K on x-axis and Gini coefficient for producer exposure on y-axis. Gini coefficient is a measure of inequality. Lower value represents less inequality. We find that in both the datasets, Fairlake achieves very less inequality in producer exposure, even very close to producer-centric poorest K recommendation. There is another strategy which we use as a baseline, that is mixed K. We are not explaining mixed K because of the time constraint. It can be found in the paper. On customer side, we measure the mean customer utility, which we plot for different recommendation sizes. In both the datasets, we find that Fairlake causes marginal loss in utility in comparison to the top K recommendation, while the producer-centric poorest K causes huge losses in customer utility. Fairlake also shows very less disparity in individual customer utilities, thereby becoming fairer for the customers. Apart from these results, there are other results with different settings which can be found in the paper. Now that we have established the problem of two-sided fairness in recommendation and also proposed Fairlake algorithm to solve it, where exactly do we make the changes in the recommendation pipeline? So first we need to change the goal and then the recommendation strategy. So instead of maximizing customer satisfaction, our goal becomes two-sided fair recommendation. And instead of recommending the top K products, we have to use Fairlake. Apart from being fair to both producers and customers, Fairlake is also a scalable method. As it is a post-processing method, it is independent of the type of relevance scoring model or any business-specific mechanism in place on the platforms. It can be directly implemented in offline scenarios like mass promotion, recommendation through email updates, app notifications, etc. It can also be implemented in online scenario by limiting the setup customers to only active customers at any point of time. Thank you.